Alright, so we're now live. Swipe down. Wait, oh shoot. Hey everybody, I am trying to. Oh wait, maybe this will work. Let's see. We're in the dark.
Yeah.
Jeff, how do we turn on the cabin lights in this here Berg? Wow. Hey.
There we go.
Hey, there we go. In Glenburn to support the PTF.
Yes.
And we were just playing on Periscope because we heard there were some new features and neat things about Periscope. Now those features seem to be on my Periscope because I guess I'm not beta-y enough.
I don't know if they're out for everyone. Someone on Periscope showed something about while you're broadcasting that you could press on the screen and sketch on yourself. I have not tried it.
I'm pressing on the screen and nothing's happening. So I'm guessing that's not a feature on mine, but maybe that's just some users have that on their beta. But anyway, we are also Team WickedDecent. We are now only one half of WickedDecent.
That's true.
We used to be all of WickedDecent
We are
Learning.
expanding.
We have expanded. So Matt Druitt Card is now, and has been for a while, part of WickedDecent. WickedDecent Learning. But the other person who is now part of, but we have not yet graced the site with her picture as of yet, is the amazing Audrey O'Clair. She is the latest and greatest member of Team WickedDecent, and so you can expect to see more content on our website and on the Twitters and the things from us. So we're super excited about that. And this summer, we're hoping to do even more with WickedDecent Learning. So that's a cool thing to keep your eyes and ears on. Jeff, are you comfortable driving with the cabin light on?
I'm adjusted. I'm good.
All right, cool. So for people who don't know the history of WickedDecent Learning, we used to podcast every week.
There's even a history prior to where the name WickedDecent Learning comes from.
Do you want to drop that knowledge?
Sure. So I actually was not directly involved with most of that, but back in college, Dan and his now wife had a radio show called the WickedDecent 2-Hour Show, which occasionally was more than 2 hours.
Yeah, we were the WickedDecent 2-Hour Show.
Right.
Then one year, or one semester, we were the WickedDecent 3-Hour Show.
Oh, you got an expansion.
And I actually had the WickedDecent 2-Hour Show. Like, it was,
It's just you?
For me, yeah. I had it my freshman year.
Yes, I did a guest spot once, I think, doing some weird impression of a professor, I think. And so then Dan and I decided around about, the year 2000 or so? I think that's what we figured out.
No, it was when we moved in to my house.
Yep.
So it was New Year's 2004.
2004, that's right, I remember it was New Year's. And we had heard some cool podcasts.
Oh wait, not 2004, 2005.
2005.
New Year's 2005.
And so we had heard some cool podcasts, like Bit by Bit, Bob Sprankle, and the Seedlings group, and just lots of other folks.
Shout out to Alice.
Yep, Alice Barr and Cheryl Oakes.
Yep.
And those guys. And there were some other people around the country doing podcasting, talking educational
Michael
topics.
Richards, I think, was part of all that.
Yep. And so we were like, I wonder how we like to chat. I wonder how you get started with that. So we started looking around, found a site, and then later found another site, and then later another site to host the podcast.
Right.
And then just started the WickedDecent Learning podcast and blog. And those are still out there, available for you.
You can still get
You can
still get them. They're still up on the host, right? They're hosted on Blueberry, right?
Yep, you can still go to Blueberry with no ease.com. I still remember the promo tag at the end.
Blueberry with no ease, and you can still get the old podcast. And they're kind of like they've now become these interesting historical documents. For a few reasons. One, I am now a fierce advocate of if you're going to say something online, you own it and you put your name to it, and you don't operate under a pseudonym. I mean, I know that my Twitter handle is WickedDecent, because I came out of Wicked Decent Learning.
Right.
But it's still my picture. It's my face. I put my name under my profile. Like, people know it's me. It's not hidden. And I get super irritated on online comment boards with anonymous posters and people who are hiding behind well, I'm just afraid about retribution for what I say. And they're like, why are you saying it?
Right.
Maybe you need to think about that. Maybe you think about how to frame your comments if you're not going to own them. But back then we didn't tell people who we were.
Right. We went probably a good 30 episodes or so.
Yeah, at least a year's worth.
Yeah, of trying to decide how much we reveal about where we teach and who we were and that kind of stuff. Just because, I don't know, we're just new waters for us, I think. And then we decided that no, we needed to just tell people where we're at and what we're doing, and nothing negative happened at all. Actually, it was nice. I don't recall any.
Well, I don't know if anything directly happened, but like once I started telling some people in my district that I podcasted, and I think some of them listened, and then they were really keenly aware that I wasn't admitting where I was from, and I was still criticizing, and no one said anything to me, but I could kind of like tell like that wasn't super awesome, and now in retrospect, it wasn't awesome. I should have been forthright about what I was saying, especially if I was going to be critical.
Right.
I was super critical in those. If you listen to them, I say some, well, not like get me fired things.
No.
And not really about my local, but really about then the Commissioner of Education at the time, Sue Gendron. I said some pretty brutal things. I think I might have said some things about the Baldacci administration were
regionalization of schools.
The whole consolidation movement. That's all on the podcast. And in fact, we stopped doing the podcast not long after that, because we could not be positive for an entire episode to save our lives.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Like, we just got to a point where every episode, and then we'd start fighting, and we were angry,
yelling.
Oh, and it was bad. It would get me worked up, and then I'd just be done.
Yeah.
And at least now, right now,
there are episodes toward the end where the tone is like this. Welcome to Wicked Decent Learning.
We hate everything.
This week in education, there's just nothing for us to talk about.
Nothing good.
Good.
All things are bad in education. That's what we would basically say. Right. And this was circa, let's say 2006. I would say, because we got about 2 years solid with episodes, and but we were running into some problems with our own tone. We were getting a little, I don't know if we were getting burned out, but we were having a hard time staying positive, and that made it hard to like we were supposed to be talking about things that were wicked and decent, and all we were talking about were things that were wicked and undecent and indecent. It was wicked freaking indecent, Bob. So we haven't, and then like after that we did a few, and brings us back to doing this right now, is we went through a stretch where we did a bunch of road shows where we recorded in the car full of lots of car noise, but
car noise audio was not as bad as it wasn't like your own little sound booth.
Yeah, and we got actually more positive feedback, I think, from those episodes than we did from all the ones that we put like a lot of prep and time into. I don't know if because we were looser, but I think by and large those episodes were more positive.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was like, so irony of ironies.
Yeah.
So right now it is late. It's 11:39 at night, and we're on our way back from this improv show, because the other thing that happened, since we're going down Wicked Decent Lane, and like there's one person watching according to the old Periscope cam here, so we kind of stopped doing Wicked Decent Learning because we were getting depressed, but also because we started an improv group, and that was taking up like 2 nights a week, and we couldn't figure out a way to have a third night with both of us with small kids and not end up divorced.
Right, exactly.
And so something had to give, and since improv is making us happy and making us laugh and eventually making us money, And Wicked Decent Learning was making us angry
Right.
and sad and just costing us a lot of time.
Yeah.
It didn't cost us any money, but it wasn't making us any money either. So we kind of put the brakes on it.
Editing and then
yeah, but it really, like, the biggest reason that we stopped doing Wicked Decent Learning at the time was it just made us sad.
Right.
And we were fighting. We would get into it with each other, and it wasn't good.
No.
It was bad, and it was about stupid stuff.
Right.
But we totally get into it. So, the irony is now we're coming from a Teachers Launch Mafia show, and now live periscoping about Wicked Decent Learning.
Imagine if we'd had this technology back then. We would have gotten so many more podcasts in, and they would all be video podcasts. We did try to video podcast a few times.
We did.
Google Hangouts?
Yep, we tried a few Google Hangouts in the early days of Google Hangout.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how old our show is like.
We tried live shows with commenting, like live commenting, like call-in type stuff.
Oh yeah, we
had fun.
We had fun, and we talked to some cool people. Like, we had who were some? We had guests.
We had Richard Byrne in the Geek Lair. Called it.
Yep. Richard Byrne of Free Tech for Teachers.
He was still teaching and doing consulting at the same time.
Yep.
Which was pretty awesome. We had actually, I think about this one a lot.
See who you said.
I can't remember the names. It was Roger someone, and I can't remember the woman's name, but two people from the charter school movement.
Yes.
That was before,
cool.
Like the earlier days of the charter school.
Well, it was before it was even going to be okay to have charter schools.
Correct.
There's people involved in that.
They were, becoming active in the political arena to try to move that legislation forward, which did eventually pass. But we were wrestling with some of those questions with them,
right?
In that interview, so that was cool.
And who did we have from Australia?
Oh, Jenny Luca.
Yes,
Jenny Luca from Australia. We had Liz B. Davis.
Yep, Liz B. Davis, who used to be in Massachusetts. Now she's up in Canada. Canada.
We also had some.
We had somebody else.
UMF.
We had somebody else that was
teachers.
Yep,
I believe.
We had
some union folk on.
Oh, but who did we have? We had? Oh, dang it! Did we not have one of the? I want to say Cool Cat teacher.
Vicky Davis?
Did we have Vicky Davis on?
Maybe. I can't remember if we had Vicky Davis. I know we had Liz Davis, so that's where I feel like I'm
So
Davis.
we've had some cool people in the past, which was like extra super rad. And so we've had good people on the show before, and so I don't know if that this little on the road periscoping means that we're going to start doing more of this, but it's kind of fun. Like, if we're going to end up in a car. What was supposed to happen, like, now I'm like calling back a reference I made a while ago now in the same little stream, but like a while ago we thought we were going, like, when we were driving up, our gig tonight was 2 hours from home, so we were going to drive up, and I was going to suggest to Jeff, hey, let's hey, Molly, Molly Tomlinson is, well, not Tomlinson anymore, but anyway, Molly T, hey, Molly, super cool, is watching. We're driving, Molly, we were just in Bangor. Can you believe it? We did a show out in Glenburn tonight.
Small world.
So what we were going to do on the way up is I was going to suggest we do this on the way up in the light, where you could actually see us and we could actually talk.
That's a ridiculous
and do it on the way up. But we got talking about presidential politics and got totally caught up in like negativity and like like grumbling, all mad about this and that and the other thing, and complaining. And I'm like, no, I don't really want to podcast this because I'm just not in the mood anymore.
Yeah.
So
we had a really positive, really good show. Put us back in the mood.
We had the best time tonight.
The audience was super responsive.
It was amazing. So we were at Glenburn Elementary, and if you don't know where Glenburn is, and you're watching this, so if you're in Bangor, Maine, and you get on Broadway, and just keep driving out where there's very little, you end up in Glenburn very quickly. It's the next town over from Bangor, and it's this great little town. The Kenduskeag River runs right through it. That's where 6 Mile Falls is, if you're familiar with that from the Kenduskeag Extreme Canoe Race. 50th anniversary next weekend. My dad and I are running it. Fun fact. But out there is Glenburn Elementary, and it's this great little school, and their parent-teacher Federation, Parent-Teacher Federation. It's not PTO, it's PTF.
Yeah.
And Molly's doing the race too. Molly, I will see you next weekend. Absolutely guaranteed. Absolutely 100%. We need to talk off camera soon. Yes. Maybe Friday night, perhaps. Mayhaps. Possibly. Would be swell. Anyway, we did a show up there for them to raise money for their organization, and it was Jeff and myself and our buddy Philip, who's in the group. Just the 3 of us tonight. 2 of our 2 female members couldn't make the show tonight because of other commitments. So we went up and we had the best time.
Yeah.
These kids were amazing. They were super great. The night started off pretty well for me. We get there, they're having a bake sale. So Philip lost his mind because they had for sale brownies wrapped inside of cookies, and he couldn't get over that.
Too awesome.
They actually had space for us reserved for a green room. They got the teacher's lounge, which we thought was appropriate for the teacher's lounge mafia. We got to leave a little note for Jenny in her box that hopefully she'll find. And then I got to see someone who I haven't seen in forever. And Molly, this is going to be cool to you who's watching. So my high school girlfriend, Celeste, her mom comes walking through the door. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, that's a nice lady. She looks pleasant and she's smiling. And oh my Lord, I have not seen you in like at least 15 years. More than that.
Yeah.
More like at least since Celeste and I broke up. I have not seen Rose Ellen. And it was super cool. And then Melissa was there, and it was awesome when we caught up for we had 10 minutes to catch up. And it was just amazing and great and wonderful to have her at the show. And so that was a cool little thing for me.
Yeah.
And then we go in and they had us in their gymatorium.
Yep.
And they did this adorable thing with the kids.
Yep.
So the only rider we basically have on a contract ever is water. We just want water. That's it. Just give us water. And so right before the show started, do you guys need anything? We're like, well, if you could have water for us on stage, would be great. Jeff, do you remember
the kids' name or
how it dropped? I guess it doesn't matter.
What happened is I have a friend up there, Vicky Rotten, and she is amazing. She's a pre-K teacher.
She was Penobscot County Teacher of the Year?
Yes.
Is that right?
2014. Yep. And a finalist for State Teacher of the Year that year. In Maine. And so
shout out Vicky Rotten.
And if she goes back on Periscope, like you said, she might see this. She was so excited because a lot of her pre-K kids and previous pre-K kids were going to be there. So
pre-K kids at one of this is an all ages show anyway, but pre-K is young, and it was a 7 o'clock show, so it was like, whoa.
She said, "Do you guys need water?" And we said, "Oh, actually, yeah, we forgot to ask for that." And she said, "I'll tell you what, I'm gonna give all of your bottled waters to my kids, and they're in the audience tonight, and you just let them know when you need water, and they will run it up to you, right?" Which was really cool, because what we did was Dan was introducing the show and he was getting on into our first game, and I said, and the only other thing we need from the audience is, I said, Dan, you brought our water, right? That's the only other thing we need to do comedy. And Dan goes, oh, I brought water for me, because he had his own water bottle. And And I said, oh man, we really need some water. Does anybody out there have any water? And this, like, we only had 3 of us there. Like 4 or 5 kids like, come up.
All these kids come running up with water.
To the stage with the water, and
it was
really excited
it was
to hand
so
it out.
adorable, and it was amazing. And then other kids who had water came up and gave us water.
I'm sure we had water from kids that.
So we just had this like stream of water, and this was before we had even done anything to amuse them.
Right, we had not played any games.
There was no contract. Like they could have just said, "No, you're not funny enough."
Right.
Like making me laugh, clowns. And then we had an amazing night with just piles and piles of great audience suggestions, and
we do most of our break was taken up with people coming up and talking to us about how much they were enjoying things.
Right. Molly just said that's really all ages. You have no idea. There was a guy in there who had to have been 75, 80.
Yeah,
was
he
also
talked about
there.
Graduating from Dennisville High School in 1950.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And now they tore the high school down 4 years after he graduated. He thinks because he contaminated it.
He was the class clown.
It was awesome.
Like they took it down for you.
He goes, I'm a herring shucker from down Washington County. he wanted us to do a scene all about herring chuckers from Washington County, and it was awesome. He was super, super cool. And then he was there, and then we had pre-K kids, and they were a wonderful crowd. We couldn't have had a better time. And all ages shows are always tough because we never know who's coming to the show. And when adults come and they want to go to an improv show, if they don't realize it's an all ages show, they can get really disappointed because some folks really want some adult content in their comedy. And we weren't going to be doing any adult content. And it's tough for us too because we love doing all ages shows, but it's also like you're in your brain and you have to like turn that piece off, and you have to really be careful. And at the same time, you know that you can kind of get away with stuff if you're operating on that second level.
Right.
Like if everything is innuendo, you can really drop some stuff in there. And one of our earliest suggestions tonight involved, we're not going to recount, by the way, recounting improv is the least funny thing in the world.
True that.
It is. Yeah. Because you think it's going to be hilarious when you tell the story, and it never is. It's always a case of you had to be there. So we're not going to bore you with that at all. But and they wanted to be involved, and the show didn't run long, but we cut some of our games out because like getting suggestions from the audience was so much fun because they were just so into it. The kids were loving doing it. They had great ones. We got this gaggle of girls that were like too cool for it at the beginning, and by the end they were all game on, and they were amazing and wonderful and hilarious, super funny. Yep. There's going to be pictures of us dapping online, which is like we were it was great. We were having a grand time. We ended up doing a game. There's a game we play called Half-Life, where you recount a movie in a minute, and then you have to do the same movie again in 30 seconds, and then 15 seconds, and we did The Wizard of Oz. And I got my complete week's workout. Yeah, we got enough of workout so that afterwards we could go to Gagan's and have some food and beverages and enjoy ourselves and hang out with Vicky Groton and her husband. Mm-hmm. Just super cool people. Yep. And it's just a really great night all the way around. So totally worth the drive up. And so if you're watching this and you're like, hey, we have a PTO. we'd like to have improv comedy happen there. Just give us a holler, and it's super. If you're watching this, you know how to find us. Just shoot me a line on the Twitters and or on the Facebooks, and we'll figure something out. So and hey, if you're thinking, but I'm not in Maine, don't let that stop you.
Mm-hmm.
We travel, especially if we don't have to pay to travel.
Right.
But anyway, so I think we're gonna roll here because my data plan is limited.
Being chewed through.
Well, hey, that implies that this wasn't worth it until it was worth it.
True.
But also fried pickles are catching up to me, and and we have an exit to Palmyra and Newport coming up not too far from now, so I think we're gonna be doing a little pinch stop.
Yeah.
And everything, but so thanks for watching, and Molly, thank you for chiming in, and yeah, so we'll catch you guys later on the Twitters and wickeddecentlearning.com.